Hey guys, my name is Bianca Maria Scalisi Papa. I am 22 years old and I live in the GTA in Canada. So I felt spiritually inclined to making this video today because I have lived a very public lifestyle between dance, sports, and also just medically, some of the stuff that I've been through. I know a lot of people have been kind of keeping up with my life and following my life. However, I've never really vocalized what I've been through and the stuff that I've experienced before. And something was calling me to make a video about this. I actually tried to make a video about a month ago and I tried to upload it yesterday, but I was having some issues, so I kind of took that as a sign to just refilm it. And yeah, living this kind of lifestyle publicly allows a lot of people to talk about your life and tell your story from their perspective. And I just kind of felt like it was my time to talk about my life, and maybe I could use it to inspire some other people who are having similar experiences or have had similar experiences. And yeah, so that's why I'm making this video. And yeah, so I kind of want to start by kind of just explaining my life journey, and I just want to start by preferencing I'm not doing this in a boastful way. I don't want me listing my achievements and listing the things that I've been through to be seen in that way. I'm simply doing this because I know that I've been blessed with amazing experiences and opportunities in my life, and I feel like talking about them is inspiring and it can help people relate. And why else would I go through all of this stuff if not to talk to other people about it, right? So yeah, what exactly shaped me? So growing up, I was extremely involved in the dance industry. I have done all types of genres of dance. I've done tap dance, hip hop, lyrical, contemporary, acro, you name it. I've been trained in it. I'm super grateful for my teachers. They were amazing. And what else shaped me? Sports was a huge part of my life. Growing up, I was extremely into track and field. So I've done triple jump, shot put, long jump, 100 meters. I kind of did everything and I got first place in a lot of it. I'm super grateful, for that. That was a huge part of my life that I really did love. And then there was also things that I did for fun, like frisbee, volleyball, basketball. I also did rep soccer growing up as a kid, which was super fun. And yeah, so those are some of the things that kind of shaped me as a kid. However, I do want to mention that during all of this, I did deal with a lot of medical warfare. So a lot of people know this. It's not a secret, between, little things like asthma to bigger things like the fact that I had scoliosis. If you don't really know what that is, basically my spine was in the shape of an S, and it caused my ribs to flare, and it caused a lot of kind of medical issues in my stomach as well, which I did have a scoliosis surgery for. I was extremely grateful for that. Thank you to Sick Kids. My surgeon was Dr. Zeller. He did an amazing job, even down to my scar. It was beautiful. And then 2 years later, I actually fractured my spine in 5 different spots, which was just terrible, if I'm gonna be honest. It was extremely painful, and it did a lot to my mental health in terms of, what am I supposed to do now? Can I go back into the arts? I was a gymnast also for a long time. I actually fractured my spine on a trampoline, not even doing anything remotely dangerous. I just kind of fell. But yeah, it still happened. And yeah, it kind of affected me more than I like to admit. And I just never really talk about this stuff, you know? I didn't really know a lot of people growing up who had been through similar experiences as me, so it didn't really feel like I had a lot of people to relate to on that, you know, particular level medically. I did have one best friend in high school that, you know, as I was literally gaining my ability to walk again, I had to witness him lose his ability to walk. It was, you know, really upsetting, and he ended up passing away. However, you know, that friendship was extremely important to me because I felt, even though what he had gone through was, in my opinion, way worse, it was somebody I could relate to, and I feel like I hadn't really met somebody that understood me on that level in a long time. Therefore, I never really wanted to discuss any of this stuff, or felt able to discuss this kind of stuff. And he also had to, you know, go out of sports, and, you know, it was just someone I could relate to. I didn't feel as though I was able to relate to a lot of people for a while. And then this summer, I actually met a lot of people who had similar medical experiences to me, which just made me feel a lot more comfortable. And I'm extremely grateful for meeting those people, because it can feel kind of lonely when you have to deal with a lot of stuff medically. And yeah, so kind of back into growing up. So yes, I was a competitive dancer for a long time. I was dancing between 50 to 60 hours a week. Not only was I dancing, I was coaching, I was also assisting. So especially in the tap industry. So when I had first started tapping, I feel like the community was kind of being pioneered here in the GTA, and I am so grateful to have been a part of, you know, that community. Extremely grateful. And I was kind of dancing with my teachers, which was super fun. I got to improvise to live music, which still to this day is one of the best things I've experienced. And yeah, I was dancing a lot, and then I also went to art school for 3 years. So I was dancing at art school. I was taking drama classes, art classes, music classes. And again, I'm just saying this kind of stuff because I want you guys to know that this stuff exists. I feel like a lot of people don't even know that this stuff exists. And again, I'm so grateful that I got that lifestyle. However, it was a lot. It did have quite a number on my, you know, back. And regardless of, you know, what I went through, the experience is still something that I would not take back at all. So yes, something else that I also did was I took photography classes, I took videography classes, I also did editing classes outside of school. My mom kind of put me in like an editing course, so like graphic designing, that kind of stuff. Blessings upon blessings, very grateful for. But yeah, this stuff exists, and I just wanted to share the fact that I was able to, you know, have these opportunities, and you can still have these opportunities, you know? So again, to preference, why am I saying that term? Anyways, again, while I'm going through all of this, I was dealing with scoliosis and a fractured spine, you know, and so I kind of want to bring motivation to anybody, because if anybody is currently going through some sort of injury or anything that, you know, especially mental health is a huge thing. If you've been through something, whether it's relating to your family, whether it's relating to your health, medically, anything, I just kind of want to let you know that I've been there. Obviously it sucks, and it's really hard to find motivation to keep going while you have to juggle something like that, right? And kind of just share things that helped motivate me to kind of get back on my feet and keep going even when life felt like it was impossible. And one thing that really helped me was the gym. So my mom has worked at a gym my entire life. So I have been going to Lifetime Athletic for 13 years. I've probably been working out about 10 years on and off. Extremely grateful for that, and I love that place. And the gym is something that I think can seriously make a difference on your mental health. Whether it's running to bring some color back into your face, whether it's cardio just in general, Zumba, there's dance classes that you can take, bar classes, there's so many things that now exist. Pilates, I just took my first Pilates class the other day, which was actually extremely like nice and fun. It felt kind of like a more intense stretching class. You can even take technique classes. Weightlifting, I did weightlifting for, I don't even know, like 8+ years, maybe a little bit less than that, but yeah, the gym is just such a great outlet for your mental health. I don't want to say a distraction, but in a way it kind of is a distraction. And you know, just being able to move your body is a blessing, okay? You know, I'm so grateful that I can still walk with some of the injuries that I've had. So, you know, being grateful that you can still move your body, take advantage of that, you know, take advantage of that, right? So yeah, now I'd like to discuss, why did I stop, you know, professionally doing this stuff, right? So injury obviously is the main reason that I had originally stopped dancing. When I had my scoliosis surgery, I actually was told I wasn't allowed to dance, which sucked. But, you know, it also caused a little bit of fear in my mind of like hurting myself again. And that was just, I shouldn't have allowed that to happen. However, yeah, I stopped dancing because of my injury, and then I kind of started to post dance videos online on TikTok for fun. So I know I have been given quite a large platform on TikTok, and I just want to start by saying, because I know a lot of people wonder why I didn't professionally dance on social media when I had the opportunity to. I could have totally used it for that reason. But I kind of just want to mention that instead of professionally continuing to do what I wanted, I kind of wanted to use my knowledge with filming, videography, music, dance, to allow other people that I went to high school with to have fun and kind of experience what it's like to, you know, partake in some of the gifts that I was able to partake in, right? So I wanted others to experience dance at a fun level rather than a professional level. And that was a decision I made, because I could have, you know, used it for professional reasons if I wanted to, but I wanted everybody to kind of just feel comfortable. I didn't want it to be competitive. I didn't want it to be boastful. I wanted everybody to kind of just feel included, you know, and looking back, it was extremely fun. It was, you know, really enjoyable to just make videos like that. As a kid, I was immature, so some of the videos I make, I totally regret. They're very embarrassing. And I was kind of just following trends and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, you live and you learn. Do I regret some of it? I don't know, regret is kind of a tricky word. I think everything happens for a reason. So I wouldn't say I regret it. However, I am aware I could have used my platform differently, and that is kind of what I want to do now. And yeah, kind of just wanted to share that. So yeah, what kept me going? Because, you know, between my spinal injuries, I also injured my tailbone. That was another injury I had. It was from sledding and tobogganing. I also recently, earlier this year, almost got into a car accident. I injured the top of my spine. So my spine has literally been to hell and back. And, you know, sucks, but it's my life. So what has kept me going? God. I just want to make that very clear. God has kept me going. My relationship to Jesus, you know, meditation and solitude is something that I keep extremely centered in my life. But yeah, God, Jesus, the teachings of Jesus, you know, the past couple years I have had the ability to kind of learn more about knowledge and wisdom, and I'm super grateful for the knowledge that I've obtained. And yeah, I'm in the process of attempting to switch my paradigm back into a more artistic paradigm rather than you know, the one that I was sitting in. And yeah, I kind of just want to take you guys along with me for the journey, and that's why I'm making this video, right? So now, kind of just to inspire some people who may be going through a hard time, what are some things that make me happy? All of the things I just listed, I listed because these are things that made me happy while I was going through, you know, dark things. I wanted to share these things so that you can maybe try out any of these things. But other things is like, you know, painting and drawing and, you know, going for walks, nature. I love nature. Animals, that kind of stuff. It can, you know, change your frequency. I don't know the word I would use. It just makes you happier, you know? And I think that kind of stuff is super important to keep in your life. So yeah. All right, now I kind of just want to talk about social media and safety. So with having a large platform growing up, there was a lot of pressure. I had a lot of hate constantly on my body. When I made funny videos, people call me cringe. You know, privacy stuff. There's a lot that comes with having a big platform, and you know, it comes with a lot of responsibility, and you know, making sure that you keep a safe space for yourself and your mental health is extremely important, which is why I really love solitude. You know, being able to focus your thoughts, hear your thoughts, and really understand who you are internally is extremely important. But yeah, social media comes with a lot of effects on your mental health as well, big ones, and I definitely was affected mentally from all of this stuff at such a young age. You know, I'm 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. I'm a kid, you know, and I'm having people say, oh, she looks like a stick, you know. It kind of sucked, constantly comparing myself to other people that I was seeing on social media. Again, my relationship to God really did help me kind of stay away from that negative perspective and stop caring what people thought about me, but it still existed. I'm not going to ignore that. And yeah, I kind of stopped posting on social media after I had got into my second injury because I was in a back brace, and it was kind of hard for me to dance while I was in a back brace. And it really did take a toll on my mental health, and I kind of just wanted to live in the real world privately for a while. I also got into a relationship, you know, and then I had my friend pass away. There was a lot of stuff that kind of happened around the time that I stopped posting, and all of that kind of just led to me losing motivation to post in general. A lot of comparison too. I didn't like it, so I kind of just stopped. I stopped a lot. Stopped dancing, stopped all of it, which is kind of sad, but you know, I needed time to myself. I needed some personal time. I needed to heal. I got really into the gym around that time, so yeah, that's kind of it. And then again, while I was taking this break, I spent a lot of time studying a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and yeah, I just kind of want to reintroduce myself back onto a social media platform because it's fun. And what was the point of me going through all of this stuff if not to inspire other people, right? Why did I go through all of this if not to inspire other people, right? You know, one thing that really helps me, and I try to say this to a lot of people, is if you feel as though you're kind of going through a rough patch, whether, you know, some of us were athletes our entire lives and we didn't even get paid a penny, you know? It's a lot to live that, you know, competitive athletic lifestyle. It is a lot. And, you know, something that really keeps me centered and grounded when I feel as though I'm losing myself is to go back to that younger version of myself where it wasn't competitive and it was more just for fun. And, you know, I feel like that can really help as a dancer. Stretching is something that really kind of grounds me. If you've never tried that, take a technique class or kind of give that a try. But yeah, just really making sure you keep that childlike version of yourself. You know, Jesus really teaches that in scripture, and I totally agree. Even if you are an adult, making sure you maintain that you know, mentality is super important. You know, when you have kids, you want to make sure your kid is being a kid. You know, you don't want your kid to lose that, so you can't lose that, you know? I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm sorry for this is like such a random video, but just bear with me, okay? Anyways, so yeah, one other thing that I never talked about publicly, something that I experienced, was pancreatitis. So this took a huge toll on me. One day I had an allergic reaction and it caused my pancreas to quite nearly implode inside of me. And that was extremely, that caused a huge awakening for me because, you know, I had pain injuries, but that was like internal. I was like, whoa, this is really scary, and it really caused me to work on my diet. So having a healthy diet is so important. Of course, there's times where I fast for spiritual purposes. However, making sure that you're eating properly, making sure you're drinking enough water, making sure your vitamins, all that kind of stuff is so important. Your body is a temple, okay? You're a spirit living a physical life. Therefore, this physical form is a temple for your spirit. It is super important to make sure that you are trying to stay as healthy as you can regardless of what you go through. Not to say there weren't times where I was, you know, unhealthy. of course. Not to say I don't eat chips, you know, here and there. Of course, having a mother who is super into health and nutrition helps a lot. However, yeah, your health is super important, and I just want to motivate you to maintain your health. Don't let yourself go. Don't let yourself become gluttonous. Gluttony is a sin, and it really can affect you terribly. But yeah, after I experienced pancreatitis, unfortunately, it continued for years. I had pancreatitis on and off all the time. Every time I had an allergic reaction, I got a pancreatitis attack. It freaking sucked. And it really was a wake-up call for the things that I was ingesting and my diet in general. So yeah, because of that, I also hate consuming alcohol. I find that it really affects my stomach terribly. So I try to stay away from alcohol in general. Also, alcohol is not a good thing. You shouldn't be drinking alcohol. That obviously is going to have a huge effect on your health. However, for me personally, it has a major effect on my health. So I just would like to avoid it completely. And yeah. So, why did I make this video? Why did I talk about myself? Like I said, this public lifestyle causes other people to talk about my life. And I just thought that I would take the opportunity to talk about myself for the first time rather than letting other people tell my story for me. And again, just kind of giving people the opportunity to know that all of these things exist. You know, down to Frisbee. Frisbee was so fun. One of my favorite sports, honestly, I ever did was ultimate Frisbee. And it's just like, how do people even know this stuff exists if you can't even do it? Spike ball. Spike ball was something that, you know, kept me going when I fractured my spine. You know, playing spike ball with people, just something so little as that, it can really heal your mental health. And I know that I've been through a lot of stuff, and a lot of people say, well, how is she so positive? How is she not mad? How is she not angry? How is she not miserable? Don't get me wrong, I've had moments for sure. But again, my spirituality is a huge part of my life, and it has helped me tremendously. And I would like to encourage you to, you know, seek a spiritual lifestyle. Use me as inspiration, you know? And yeah. That's just a little about me, some of the achievements I have, some of the things that really helped me, some of the things that I've had to deal with and battle. And yeah, it's nice to meet you. I don't know who this video will come across. However, I trust God and I trust algorithm. So it's nice to meet you. And yeah, I'm just hoping to kind of get back into the arts, fashion, dance, music. Love music. Music is also a huge thing that has kept me going. I want to make that super clear. I want to give tribute to all of the artists that sacrifice a part of their life in order to be in the music industry, because it is a very hard lifestyle, you know, working with frequency, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just super grateful for those of you who have made music growing up, and I've learned a lot from these people, and they've had a huge impact on my life. And music is something that has truly kept me going. I can't dance without music, right? I mean, you can dance without music, but it's more fun to dance with music. So yeah, I just really wanted to make this video, and yeah, it's nice to meet you. Bye.